Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Soulful Ascension. And I have a treat for you today. Sar Ra is a beautiful channel of Mother Mary. And so we'll dive into that in a minute. But she's an oracle, she's a channel, and a consciousness teacher devoted to the liberation of humanity through the remembrance of living intelligence. So she's definitely speaking my language, and we're just going to have a wonderful creative, juicy conversation of tools to help you embody all these beautiful teachings that are coming through. And we may just ask her if she wants to bring through a message from Mother Mary, or because she also, her path began through her deep healing from trauma, which cracked her open into direct communication with Source, Mother Mary, Quan Yin, and the Pleiadian Council. So we'll dive into that. But she now serves as an awakening catalyst for all our healers out there, the light workers, the way showers, all the souls ready to release the distortion and return to their original coherence. And through the transmission, through living live water teachings, and we'll dive into that through our conversation, plus the co-creative water prayer, which is based on Dr. Emoto's work. She guides people back to what they have always been, which is who you truly are as a soul. And this is where our alignments have come together. So welcome, Sar Ra, and thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to diving into this conversation because you bring so much knowledge of what I've been speaking about with my audience and also in my teachings. But let's go back to the beginning. Where did it all begin? Because you mentioned healing from trauma, and for a lot of advanced souls on the planet that are here to be of service, to make a difference. Advanced souls go through very eventful lives, as many of us have gone through. And that's what we signed up for, in order for us to be of service to others. Sometimes in this life, we have to go through those traumatic significant emotional events in order to truly understand our brothers and sisters who come to us for assistance. And it's like, been there, done that. This is what I did, and this is the next steps for you. And that's how we're all helping each other to grow and expand our consciousness. So what happened that became the catalyst for your awakening?
So, when I was a small child, I was an oracle. I've been born in a body that's capable of this. I came in for it. It's my life's work. And so, when I was a child, I was witnessing events and having dreams and talking with things that weren't present. And to be honest, it scared my mom because she has a similar gift. But as a child, she had a vision of her father dying, and then 2 weeks later, he did pass. And so that was a traumatic event for her, and it shut her down. So when I was a child, I would say like the first kind of, shutdown for me was, my mom kind of like brushing off the miracles that were coming through me. And so I kind of quickly learned that it wasn't really that safe to talk about what I was seeing and feeling. And then when I went through my childhood, I lived in a family that had a lot of tension and a lot of emotional instability, and anger. And so I grew up kind of in constant stress. And I was having these visions and seeing things. So it was very confusing as a child for me. And I came through my childhood, and and walked with what would now be called complex PTSD from the chronic stress of living in an abusive household and um, living in a world that wasn't built for me as a highly, highly sensitive person. And, as I go through my young adulthood, I'm living out trauma. I'm living in the trauma patterns that I learned as a child. And so my trauma just kept getting compounded. And it was
Mm.
physical based trauma that amplified the noise in my mind, amplified the distortion in my mind and my own self perception and my perception of the world. Like empaths and healers, like there's a lot of us on the earth, but really we're only about 5% of all of the population, so we're actually quite rare. Like, to be really sensitive is to be really quite rare on earth. There's a lot of us as one body. We form one body of this empathic being, but we're rare, and so the world is not built to hold us and to be
Mm.
safe for us, and we work in a very different way. We can feel, see, smell, sense things feel that other people can't, and also you can feel the truth, but what's being shown in front of you is not coherent with what you really feel in your heart. And so
Mm.
through this journey of trauma and having my body awakened, my nervous system awakened through trauma, amplified my sensitivity over time. And I
Mhm.
started my healing, the first time I started in any sort of therapy or healing modality, I was 13. And um and uh and that's kind of where I started being like, wait, okay, I'm talking about this and I can help myself by breathing. There was like some things that I was learning. But that's when my healing journey started when I was 13, and wasn't officially, diagnosed with complex PTSD until my 20s because it didn't exist as a word before then. But once I found out I had complex PTSD, I started to really dive into like many, many, many modalities. And so now I'm 43. So it's like 20 years of healing, actively healing in going through many, many modalities to figure out how to navigate the world and to actually live in my body as a highly sensitive being. Came in highly sensitive. I was born highly sensitive. When I was little, I looked albino. I was that vulnerable. In my essence. And I came in sensitive, and then my body, like you said, was catalyzed to be even more sensitive through the trauma and through the blowing open of my nervous system. Um, I became even more sensitive. But when you go through the contractions of what you've contracted to come here to experience, um, that's why I would call it going into the dark, like going deep into the dark. I agree with you, like these deep contractions into the pain and suffering of fear um,
Mhm.
allowed me to be able to identify the darkness and to know where I am when I'm in a contraction. Like, it helps to not only catalyze the body, but it gives, like you said, when you go into the dark and you find your own way out, it's because you're meant to go back down there and help other people come out,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And through the 20 years of exploring various modalities, and I mean, like, I think I've done every healing modality possible. I haven't dove into plant medicine too much, but my guides are not guiding me that way. Um, uh, so yeah, so all of these modalities, gathering all of these tools, and you think it's just for yourself. You just want your own suffering to end. But as you gather the tools, people start to show up needing those tools,
Mhm.
right? And you're like, wow,
Mm.
okay, actually, like, my pain, my trauma, my depth is because I'm here to share the light that I found down there with these people who need it. And it was in my,
Yeah.
I started to really feel that there was a purpose to my pain in my 20s when I started to do the modalities and started to do breath work and started to really focus on like what's happening energetically in my nervous system. Then I started to see that my presence every time I hit a milestone or felt like I released some of the distortion or the disturbance in my own mind and system, someone would show up needing what I had just discovered. And that's like, okay, just my presence being healed or being healed or integrating what I'm learning is creating healing around me, is creating a different kind of field around me. And it was in my 30s when I had my babies. Again, my nervous system was blown open in a whole new way. And that is when I started to awaken as a real, like really into my oracular skills and my oracular gifts. Something happened when I gave birth. And I ended up getting really quite sick because I was living like in the high stress, like I was an event project manager. I was a contemporary artist. I was building a nonprofit organizations and running festivals and conferences, and I was involved in politics. And it was just like I was like a high-powered woman, like making my way as a mother and a vibrant community leader, right? But internally, I was seeing things, hearing things, feeling things that were coming outside, like that were confusing to me. Mother Mary, I didn't know it was Mother Mary at the time, was talking to me. But the world around me, I didn't believe that. I wasn't in a place where anybody would believe what was happening. And I ended up telling people what was happening and feeling very unstable in my mental self. And I ended up getting institutionalized, like in a psychiatric ward. And there I told them that I am hearing angels, that I'm seeing energy that people can't see. And unfortunately, they deemed me psychotic and schizophrenic and bipolar, and they ended up drugging me. And I was heavily drugged with heavy metals for about 2 years. And I fought myself out of that situation. And what I did is I actually took my own life in that time. And I did it. But I was brought back. I saw no other way out except to end the pattern that was happening. And my guide said, if you do this, you will come back. And so at that point, I was so desperate to end the suffering and to get out of the pressure of being pathologized and scrutinized and told that I was ill when really I'm just an angel on earth, here to serve.
Yeah.
And so through that
Can I
death
just
experience, I came here. Yeah. So that's my.
so thank you. I mean, amazing. So who made the choice to go to the psychiatrist?
So at that point, it was my husband at the time and also my own self because I didn't know where else to take myself because I was very ungrounded. I had just had my second child and my second child was just about to be one. I was so depleted that I was so ungrounded, and my husband didn't believe what was happening. And so it just felt like the only gateway that I had to find support to alleviate what was going on in my mind.
The
Um,
messages that were coming through, the downloads.
it was a
What was
lot, and a
there?
lot was happening in my body too. I was
Yeah.
going through a lot of really crazy symptoms, and I ended up, I had lockjaw for a while. Like the cortisol and the adrenal overload in my body was really taking me down. But it was actually like myself and my husband at the time that institutionalized myself
Okay.
at the time.
And you say a near-death experience. What specifically happened?
So I would call it a death experience because they brought me back. So, it's kind of like near death, but when people say near death, like they did die, like, like they're
Yeah.
gone out of their body. And so in that process, you know, for me during that event, I didn't have any conscious recollection when I woke up. It wasn't there, and it took a couple of years to integrate what had happened in that time. But basically, I was lifted into the arms of my angelic family, and presented my higher self, like presented my higher self as my angelic self during that time. And I made contact, direct contact with Mother Mary, and the Oversoul, or the Oversoul, or the Ascended Master known as Anna, um, in that time. And I didn't realize what I had done, but when I came back, when I was resurrected into this life again, I started to do drawings. And I was doing all of these drawings. And through the process of like just expressing myself through drawing, I came to the realization that I was in conversation with Mother Mary. And through the drawings, just through the process of creativity, which is a trauma therapy, through the process of
Mm.
creativity, I was able to unravel the knowledge that was in me after that experience. Um, and I mean, the process of getting myself off of the heavy metal drugs and off of the psychological medication, that process was also like a huge process of self-acceptance and really learning how to be one with my truth without having anybody believe me, you know, without having anyone. I have one soul mother friend that's here, and she was my anchor
Mm.
that really helped.
Beautiful. Because many people that are listening in right now are awakening on their journey, and
Yes.
they're all going through these different ascension symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
and they're receiving downloads, they're receiving insights, they're receiving these messages. And if you're listening out there and thinking, oh my God, I think I'm going crazy, please trust that you're in connection with your spirit self, your higher
Mm-hmm.
self, and source energy. So, and you're not going crazy, they're just ascension symptoms. And we all
Yes.
have access to source and the
Yes.
messages coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And so, through your experience that you went through, you said you have direct contact with Mother Mary and Quan Yin and the Pleiadian Council. So, for someone hearing this for the first time, what does that actually feel like?
That's a very good question. Um, so it first started like it started as if like my heart was speaking to me louder than normal. I would be like, I'd feel like, oh, I have to do this, or I'm having these thoughts or these feelings in my body, and it really felt like it was coming through my heart. Like my heart was pulling me to do something that seemed so opposite from what I was taught and what the world wanted me to do, you know? And as I listened to my heart, things started to change really beautifully when I made those hard choices. And so that's what it really felt like at first. It's like just this compulsion to make choices and decisions that felt really out of the normal for my character, or out of the normal of the normal
Mm,
society. And so it
mm,
really started just in my heart. And when Mother Mary comes, she comes in like these physical ways too. She shows like she was just bringing me roses all the time, and like I would just notice roses more. And then I was like, okay, something's going on here. And then one day I was just like, just popped in my head, this is Mother Mary, and I was like, oh, and then I was drawing, and it was the flow of creativity and like leaving my mind blank and moving my body with creativity that allowed the voice to get louder and clearer inside my mind. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day. It's not like sometimes I do see physical energy in the world, and I feel like that's not something that many people do experience at first. Some people do experience auras and things like that first, but often it is just an inner knowing, and it comes through your imagination. The imagination is the main function of your third eye. So we've been taught that your imagination is not real, but your imagination is the gateway to source and is the gateway to the quantum field. And so she pops up in your imagination with images and thoughts that come in. or she'll speak to me through songs. People often will be like this song is saying this thing that just really relates to me. It's like perfect guidance, and that is
Yeah.
your higher self, your guides, the ascended masters giving you the
Mm.
message. And so just over time, as you become open to believing, it becomes stronger and
Yes.
stronger over time. So I hope that's helpful
Uh,
for your audience. It's like kind of a very broad way of how it
mm.
works for me. Hmm.
Well, um, all the work I do is about soul alignment and coming back into your
Hmm.
heart and back to who you truly are. So
Hmm.
definitely, we're yeah, we're speaking that same language.
Hmm.
So you talk about soul alignment, which is something I, also teach and practice. Though you bring in the water consciousness, and this is something I'm really excited to dive into because I've been teaching it for many decades, though now the water consciousness and the living it's like a living entity in itself. It has its
Hmm.
own energy, and there's more and more teachings and channelings about the living consciousness. And Dr. Emoto, the Japanese scientist, first brought it through many decades ago. And though many souls weren't tapped into how profound this was. Can you explain the water and how you work with the water and the consciousness with the soul alignment?
Hmm. So, like recovering from what I recovered, from or going through what I went through, I became very hesitant to engage with Western medical systems, and I had a lot of illness in my body, and it was Mother Mary that brought me to water, and then Quan Yin, and they started to talk then, and I was first introduced to it through homeopathy, actually,
Mm-hmm.
because homeopaths use water as a conduit for their remedies. And
Mm.
I'm actually so subtle that I don't need to have the actual physical remedies in the water. I just need to have the thought of the remedy structure the water. And so I was working with a homeopath, and the remedies were too strong for me. They were too much for my body. And so, talking with my homeopath here, who's a really beautiful, wonderful, wise woman, I would say she's from the Mary Magdalene line, even she was like, okay, let's do paper remedies then. Let's start with paper remedies, which essentially is just writing the name of the plant or the wisdom that you want on a piece of paper and setting your glass of water on that piece of paper, and it will structure the water to carry the wisdom of that plant, animal, whatever medicine you're seeking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to do that, and I started to see some great results in my body and my subtle energy. And Mother Mary was like, your physical ailments are not physical. Your physical ailments are like your physical discomfort is from the subtle realms. This is happening in the emotional and spiritual level of your being. And so physical interventions are not going to complete the integration that you're looking for. And so I started to just really look into what are the plants around me? What are the plants that are actually around me? Because, they say, everything you need is already here for you, right around you. And in homeopathy, they feel the same way. Like, what plants are just naturally growing in the parameter around your house, because they're going to tell you a lot about how you can support yourself, because nature is here for us. The
Mm-hmm.
whole world is here to support us to be full and whole and part of this regenerative system. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where it really started, is in my own healing, realizing that medicine wasn't working, Western medicine, allopathic medicine wasn't working. The body modalities that I was doing was not completing the healing that I was seeking for. Well, once I started
Mm-hmm.
to work with water, everything started to change. Um, and through my own communion with Mother Mary, and the Marys, I'd say Mary Magdalene and Mary, um, I started to learn about how water is like I am water. I am water.
Yeah.
Water, I'm breathing water. We are essentially swimming in water on Earth.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
are a water planet. And
Mm.
when I was structuring the water with the plant wisdom, um,
Mm.
and drinking it into my body, it wasn't just that water doing its work. It was merging with all of the waters in my body, and um, and so that was like targeting like specific energetics in my body. But as my symptoms started to lift and my body started to feel more cohesive, and coherent with itself, um, everything started to expand in me, like my ability to hold vision safely, to hold the flow of other conscious, like higher consciousnesses flowing through me, became easier and easier. And I ended up healing some pretty profound things in my body. Like I was diagnosed with lymphoma, and the medicine wasn't completing it. And so I actually worked with just water, and some nutrients, like
Mhm.
some nutrients like trace minerals and things like that to help support my body. Um,
Mm.
but then I went into remission. It wasn't the treatments that did it. It was my own intention and working with the
Yes.
water of the world and working with the waters in my body. And so
Yes.
I do bless water and thank water so much for opening my body and my mind to understand that I am like a very beautiful, subtle field, and the structure of that field has such pressure and impact on my body. Um, and it really had, like, yes, it's like, yes, like I don't, like the doctor says I'm clear of this. That feels like a success. But actually, like working with the water started to unravel this connection that I have to my body being something that needs to be fixed at all. And now I don't see it as anything that needs to necessarily be fixed. It just needs to have presence. I just need to have presence with it and to be able to speak to it. And water is the conduit that allows me to speak to my body and to hear and to communicate with my body and with my
Yeah.
intention. Um, so that's really how I started to work with water. And I'll just
Mm.
like pass it over to you because I'm kind of losing my train of thought as I keep talking. But
I love what you're saying because we are 70-80% of water and our blood is mostly water. But when you look at our whole planet, water falls out of the sky, and we're the conduit between heaven and
Mhm,
earth, and it's all a cycle. So we're drinking the water, then we're eliminating the water, and it goes in one big cycle, then it
mhm,
rains, and we are so connected. And this is where I, you know, talk about we're all part of the planets and the stars and the cosmos and the
mhm,
galaxies and the earth, and we're all a living energy, as well as a consciousness. And
mhm,
so I love how you used water to heal your own body, because this is definitely what I teach in my courses as well. And on my water bottle, like, there's a love heart
mhm,
sticker. And for the audience, you can write love, like get a
mhm,
marker and actually write on your water bottle. I know that there's fancy water bottles out there that have, different words, but like Sar Ra just spoke about, even just placing a glass of water over a piece of paper with love and I am statements are really powerful.
mhm,
So thank you for sharing that, because some people may be skeptical. Um, and I know years ago, oh, this is many decades, I was in Sedona and I was talking to someone about how he was programming the water and turning it into another substance.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where even well, Dr. Emoto talks about this is polluted water or dirty water. If you just with your intention focus love and light and into that, you can transform it. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the essence of Dr. Emoto's work and what he proved under the microscope. um, Beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. um, Back to the soul alignment, can you give some practical tools for people, and explain that? Because, well, what pulls people out of their soul alignment?
So we are here to experience coming out of alignment. Like we are here to experience being separate, and the journey is to remember that we're not,
Mhm.
right? And so what are the things that are going to pull you out of your soul alignment or pull you out of the knowing that you are perfect and whole and radiant and a child of God, you know? What's going to pull you out of that? Society's restrictions, anything that tells you how to be outside of your own heart is a potential distortion upon your truth. And it's just because we're here to experience that. So, some key things, like media, media will pull you out of your truth. Um, Water that's incoherent will pull you out of your truth. Being around EMFs, heavy, like any EMFs, it's radiating off my computer. It's EMFs are everywhere, right? But we're talking about the toxic, degenerative EMFs,
Mm,
um,
mm,
can really interrupt your field. Um, but the way Mother Mary says it is like, if you have thoughts that take you away from your perfection, then that's
mm.
an area for you to lean into because it's a distortion on your
Yeah.
field.
Mm,
Because you are actually perfect and there's nothing that you need to change. And the discomfort is human and your pain in your body is human and you came here to be human.
mm,
So, but the remembering is that everything's perfect. You are perfect. You are
mm,
healthy. You are radiant. You're here to give and receive love and to be witness to the abundance and to receive the abundance, the infinite abundance of Mother Earth. Um, and so, I can really tell when I'm trying to be manipulated by the negative, um, the negative field. And I can tell when I open up my cell phone and I look at social media and I go to the like home page or whatever, and it might be full of all distorted images, right? This is a
mm,
subconscious thing. Most people will just look very quickly at social media, but we're seeing all sorts of violence, all sorts of weird,
mhm,
disfigured images all day long, and hearing mostly about negative, right? And I
mm,
notice that I am being influenced when I notice it, like as soon as I notice that I'm seeing disfigured faces on my phone, I'm like, I should probably put that down.
yeah.
I should probably
Yes.
maybe clear my energy and just come back
Mm,
into the knowing that everything is unfolding in this perfect, beautiful way.
mm,
And there is a negative field operating here because that's what we came to experience, is to experience. We must be in the darkness to experience coming back into the light, if that makes sense, right?
contrast.
Yeah.
It
And so like we're
helps us to
constantly,
recognize the
yes,
light. Then we
yes,
make another choice.
yes, yeah. And so,
Mm,
we go through the world really unconscious a lot of the time, and we don't notice the
mm,
images that we're seeing, and we don't notice the songs that are playing in the grocery store,
mm,
right? But if it's a negative song speaking about negative things and you're just going about
mm,
your time, you're still absorbing the words, you're still absorbing the fluorescent lights in the
yeah,
store, right? They all have an
mm,
impact on our nervous system and on our bodies. And so it feels kind of like desperate to say like, well, there's no escaping the distortion, right? But we are, when you become aware that anything that's telling you you're not perfect and that you're not loved is not true, it helps to create space for you to lean into what is true, right? And that's the mastery
mm,
part, is being able to hold the truth while you're seeing the opposite. right?
Yeah.
Because the world right now is certainly full of suffering. Um, yeah, so that's what pulls you out of your divine knowing. And I love that it's 11:11 here right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what practices keep you grounded? Because we talk about all these concepts, but
Hmm.
in the everyday world, we're raising children, we're running businesses, we're paying
Hmm.
bills, we're living in this 3D reality to get from A to B and do
Hmm.
our tasks and etc. So, what's some practices that you can recommend to the audience that will help them on this human journey
Yes.
while living in this very dense reality, but to keep our energy vibration and frequency high while seeing, recognizing the contrast, the distortion, the illusions, and because this is
Correct.
what the embodiment tools, this is what I
Hmm.
teach in my
Hmm.
programs and in my Benn method. So I'd love to hear what your practices are and how you get through your day on a daily
Yeah.
basis.
So my first bit of advice is to try to take time only in the now moment. So another thing, like what pulls you out of your coherence or out of your soul alignment is thinking that the future is coming. Like to put your mind in the future or to put your mind in the past when really everything is happening only right now. And there's only right now. And if you have a memory, you are there right now. You have access to that point in your life right now. There's nothing outside of right now. And so, always reminding myself that how I choose to hold my body in this now moment is what the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter if I have bills to pay next week and I don't know how I'm going to pay them. It matters how I
Mm.
hold myself in the deep knowing that I am perfect and loved and everything is fine right now and all of my needs are met right now. Right?
Yes.
So that's the very first thing is trying to align myself in time only right now. And how can that be when you're busy and you're going and there's bills to pay? My next piece of advice is to ground your body every day, to give yourself at least 5 minutes just to touch in to the earth, to touch a tree, to touch the actual
Mm.
ground, to
Mm.
drink a beautiful glass of water from a beautiful source, just to take time to be present. And it only takes like 5 minutes in a day to sit present with your own heart. And the practice that I do to help me feel full and to help me feel grounded and present in my own light is when I sit for 5 minutes, what I do is I give myself a minute to just connect with my heart, to just feel it
Mm.
beating inside my body,
Mm.
to take a minute and
Mm.
just to tell it that I'm thankful for it for beating, and tell myself that I love
Mm.
it. And that has been hard sometimes to tell myself I love myself. But that's a practice that I do every day. And I just sit for a minute and I just give thanks for my beating heart and give thanks for my soul for choosing yes again today to come and experience this, even though some days have been really, really hard. And the second practice I do when I'm sitting in there, I come in and I just come into presence with my heart, and then I give it a minute to practice loving. So I will pull someone in my life into my heart visually, just say like your mom or your child. And this is just a practice. And I practice extending my love to them and feeling what it feels like to extend my light, to start to shine my light out. And this is a practice.
Mhm.
And then I will practice saying no to them and feel what it feels like when I contract out of that space. And then I'll open up again and I'll extend my love to them. It's easy as just closing your eyes and visualizing someone that you love,
Yeah.
sending your love out, and then contracting it back. And it just allows my body to start to have this biofeedback in the day that I can feel expansive and loving, or I can
Mhm.
feel contracted and denying that love. And it just gives me a biological, like a biofeedback in my body at the beginning of the day. So when I'm moving through my day and I feel that heart contraction, I can be like, wait, is this a no? Is this a no for me? Am I
Yes.
feeling, am I feeling contracted because
Mm,
this is actually a no for my heart? Or am I feeling contracted because maybe I'm not allowing myself to be in my fullness? It gives you a minute you'll start to feel your body more, right? And especially you
mm,
like start to feel this expansive, love-giving sense. And then in your day, you're like, oh, this is a yes. Like this is definitely a yes. And so it's just a
yeah.
little practice I do in the morning to allow my heart sensations to be felt in my body, because once I start going, like I'm a single mother of two young children, and I got a busy life too. They got all sorts of things going on, school, blah,
Mm,
groceries, you know
mm,
like whose screen time is what, what's going on. And so
yeah.
once I start going in my day, it's hard to take it can be challenging to take that time to be like, okay, like how am I feeling? But if I take the time every day to practice that feeling, it comes way easier, right? Way, way
Mhm.
easier. And it's even to the point where you're like driving down the street and you're like, should I go right? And you get a no. Your heart contracts, so you're going to go left. And to be honest, that practice is what really opened up my connection to my own guides, or what I would call my guides, but they're just essentially elements of my own heart. Then the next
Beautiful.
practice that I do every day is, there's two practices with water that I do every day. And one of them is that I bless my face every day with water.
Mm,
And so water is listening to us right now. It
yeah.
is everywhere, it's inside your body, and it's listening.
Mm,
And it's here to support us with its wisdom. And to be honest, like you said before, the water is just recycled here. The water on the earth does not disappear. We're not going to have not enough water. There's going to always be the exact same amount of water here, always. It's just how are
mhm.
we using it? What are we
Yeah.
doing with it? Right? So the water on earth carries all of the wisdom from every single human on earth, from all time,
Mm,
from every animal, from every plant, from every
mm,
rock, from every element here on earth. Water knows it. Water has all that wisdom. And then not only that, the Lemurian star mothers came through a couple of weeks ago, and they taught me that not only does the water of earth have all of the wisdom of earth, but it also has all of the wisdom of the light from all of the stars that are shining into our water. So we've
mm,
got the wisdom from our own sun coming into the water, and then we also have the wisdom of all the stars held into the water across all time, right? So
yes.
I can ask the water to do whatever I want, essentially. And so in the
Mm,
morning, I will often ask the water to help me see clearly, to help me see
mm,
beauty in the world, to help me to see the truth unfolding in front of me and hold it with
mm,
grace, to
mm,
to bless my skin and baptize my body in the type of and the type of
mhm,
awareness that I want to move into the world with for the day. And so I just
mm,
take a bowl of water, and I have a water structuring device, which I actually don't have here right now, and it's called the Aqua Energizer. And I will structure the water to unity consciousness or living water consciousness into the bowl. And then I will
mm,
structure it with my voice and with my heart's intention. So I start
mhm,
with like this beautiful canvas of living water, of Mother Earth's natural intelligence in the water.
mhm,
And then I ask that water to bring certain qualities to it so that then I can absorb that through my face. And I'm literally putting my face into a bowl of water. And some people might have seen this, like people are doing cold plunges with their faces now to like
yes.
rebalance their nervous system. But I'm not using it super cold. Sometimes it's a bit cold, but it's more just to place my face in the water. I'll open my eyes in the water, allow it to
Mhm,
cleanse my eyes, allow it just to bless my face,
mm,
and then I go on with my day. That's the one thing that I do every day. I do it in the morning and I do it at night to help
beautiful.
me clear, like to just clear the mess off of myself that's keeping me distorted. Then the other thing that I do, I always am working with structured water. Like I start with the base of Mother Earth's living intelligence with water, and there's various devices you can get. Essentially, it's created by a vortex in the water, and then depending on what you vortex it with is how well it will be structured or what it will be structured with. So I start with that clear base. And you can get like mountain spring water is living water. You want to think of living water as coming directly from the earth or moving it through a device if you're getting it through a tap or a filter or something like that. So you have this clear base, and then I speak to my water every time I drink it.
Mhm.
So I might not speak with my voice, but every time I take a drink, I tell the water
Mm.
that I love myself. Like I'm loving myself with every sip. And often I will ask, like I will keep keep my water in something like this, my drinking water. So my drinking water is
Beautiful.
very different than my living water. My not my living water, but my the water I would use to like wash my dishes, or there's much more intention put into the water that I drink. And so I will
Mhm.
just with my mind when I drink the water just say thank you or like I love you.
Mm.
Um, in the bigger jugs, that's where I set the bigger intentions. And you already spoke about this, about writing words on it, writing my intentions. I like to just ask the water to travel to all of the places within me that need healing. May
Mhm.
this water travel to all of these places within me that need healing. May this water open me to be a compassionate vessel of healing for
Mm.
others. And it's a prayer from Quan Yin. Like these prayers come through from Quan Yin, and actually they're very deeply tied to the Sophia Code, which is a very good tool. Also, it's a book called the Sophia Code um, that introduces you to an ascended master. So Kuan Yin helped me to understand, that I can ask this water to do things that I can't even understand. Like this water, when I say, like, please travel to all of the places within me that need healing, it will go to the subtle places that I didn't even know were congested or needed to be moved. And it will do it with such grace and ease and flow. And it happens subtly, but it works. It will go
Yes.
to the deep places and you didn't even know you had tension in your shoulder. Then one day you're like, oh, my shoulder. And then the next day it's gone because the
Yes.
water has helped to release it. And so I
Exactly.
speak directly to my water and I will pray and bless the water
Mm.
in the jug. And then that's what I drink
Mm.
for the day. But you can do it with every glass. But I do set
Mm.
intention and I like to keep my water in blue glass because it keeps the resonance longer. Also, when you
Mhm.
put the blue glass in the sun, it structures the water to the sun and with the blue light. And it's very, very
Mm.
powerful. So you can place your water in the sun and it will charge up with the sun's wisdom and structure to the sun. So I do that as well. And I like to keep it in the blue glass because it keeps that the structure longer, and it keeps the radiance of my intention more amplified. And so there's a lot of wisdom I can get into about blue glass, but that's a
Yes.
very practical tool that you can use and not even understand why, and just do it.
Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for giving the audience these practical tools that they can do at home right now
Mhm.
through whatever their schedule is. And I wanted to, I know we're running out of time and we only have a couple of minutes left.
Sure.
So I'll get you on again because next time we'll bring through more messages from
I
all
feel
the,
I feel pretty content. If you are okay, I could
so,
probably bring through Mother Mary.
oh,
I really feel
awesome.
like
If
she
you've
would love
got
to
time.
talk.
Yes,
Yeah.
please
So
do.
yeah,
Yeah,
so how
thank
this is
you.
will happen is I'll just tap in and I'll bring her forward and she'll just speak and I feel like she'll
Hmm.
just bring a message through today.
Okay,
Okay, let me
thank
just
you.
feel her in. I can drop in pretty quickly, so yeah, she's right here, so she'll be right here. Yes, hello. I am Mother Mary, and it's such a joy to be here with you today, all of you watching. And here in this Zoom room, the rainbows of light coming off of everyone is so vibrant and beautiful. You are such beautiful children of the universe and in such a special place. You are so right to be listening to this podcast now, to this transmission about water and about bringing yourself back into coherence, because this is a way that is becoming the new way for this new earth that everyone is praying for. we are coming back into contact with the consciousness of water and its potential in your body. Your system is full of water. Your circulatory system is full of water. Your meridian system is a conduit of water. You have your endocrine system is also water, and all of your cells function surrounded by water, encased in water. And so the living water inside of you plays an important part in the flow of your body. I want to bless everyone and bless the waters in everyone's bodies right now. And I wish you to take your hand and place one on your heart and one over your throat, like this. I want you to take 3 deep breaths out the mouth. And we'll do that 2 more times. And as you pump the water through your body, let me bless you with the golden light of Christ. Let me bring the light of the sun into your body to allow your body to come into coherence with that which is true for you. Just breathing and allowing the water in your body to move allows the energy to move through your body. You can feel the radiance of love moving through your body as I am with you within the waters of your body now. I want you to know that when you speak words, it resonates through the body, the water in your body, and also through the water in the air. And so you are commanding miracles through your voice. So be cautious of how you speak. What words will come out of your mouth today? Will they be loving or will they be self-depreciating? This is your free will choice. And it just takes awareness to catch yourself. It's not about feeling bad if you say some bad things or think some negative things. It is about coming into awareness and bringing yourself back into coherent love and speaking upon that which may have come out as dark and bringing it back into the light. Remember that you are beings of water and you are on a water planet. The intelligence of water is through the whole universe and beyond. And so you may speak to the water to help illuminate much wisdom inside of you. I also wish for you to remember that when you breathe deeply, the waters in your body move. And when the body is moving its living waters, you are communicating with the Holy Spirit inside of you. You are communicating with your soul light. And so listen, when you feel an emotional charge come into your body, take deep breaths and allow the water to bring you the wisdom that is coming through that biofeedback, that's coming through the emotion. The emotion is there to bring you wisdom, to bring you the wisdom within the water that's moving through your body, that's picking up the experience for you and allowing you to gain wisdom from it. So breathe deeply, drink clean, high vibrational water that you extend your love to, and allow the water to bring you the wisdom, to bring you the insight that you need to take your next best step forward and to offer yourself some peace and grace and love as you move through this very painful human experience at this very pivotal moment in human history. I want to thank you so much for saying yes to this lifetime, for saying yes to this challenging life, for saying yes to a painful human experience, and for choosing to seek love beyond the suffering. It is you who is changing the world. It is you who has chosen yourself in this lifetime to make a difference, to heal your lineages, to heal your ancestors' pains and woes, and to liberate the suffering of those around you. The more you say yes to your heart, the more you send love to the waters in your body, the more you will radiate this coherence into your field and just naturally bring joy and healing and love to those around you. May you be blessed in your journey. Thank you so much again for saying yes to you, for saying yes to your power, for saying yes to your love and your heart. Remember, I am always with you. I move in the waters within you. And so when you breathe deeply, you are hearing yourself and you are also hearing me. May you be blessed. May peace radiate in your bones. May your blood be glorified with the love and beauty within your own beating heart. You are so beautiful, and I love you so very much. May you rest deeply in the knowing that you are loved beyond your very limited human understanding, and that everything on earth is working for you, is there to deliver exactly what you are seeking in your human experience. Everything is perfect, and you are beautiful and whole. I love you very much. May peace radiate within you. There you go. She's so great.
Wow, that was
Just take a
so
minute just to allow that to
powerful.
be in. Hmm.
Yeah.
She really got my whole body pumping there.
Mm-hmm.
She's so
Thank you.
soothing. Hmm.
Thank you. Thank
You are
you.
welcome.
Oh, Sarah, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom to help all the other souls out there who are
Mhm.
awakening, and everything that you've gone through is to help humanity. And I'm so grateful for us coming together for
Mhm.
this episode. And I will get you back another time so we can go deeper.
Deeper.
So,
Hmm.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Yes,
So,
thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to coming back. It really is my soul's joy to help share these tools and to reconnect people to their soul. I also just want to mention that if anybody resonates with my story around being pathologized in such ways, all of my services are by donation, and so my door is very much open. If it feels aligned to make contact with me, I'm happy and here to hold space for anyone who feels that they connected to me in that way. Because, like you said, those of us who are healers go into the
mm.
dark so that we know the way out, so we know the way out for others. Hmm.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
so grateful that we've come together. And for those listening, I'll put all of Sarah's contact details in the show notes. So please reach out to her, and we'll be back for another episode and keep sharing more tools for you. So thank you for listening, and add your comments as well, and any questions that you have, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.